Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 21 of UnCoMfY CoNvOs. This is your boy Shiv, your guy, your dude, whatever you want to call me. And today we're going to talk about living with parents' anxiety. I'm sure you have it. You've lived with your parents, and there might be some tensions, some anxieties that arise with that. I'm experiencing it right now as a 24-year-old man. Man, dude. And to talk about this anxiety, we have a very funny comedian. I met him in the New York comedy scene. He kills it in the scene. Very funny man. He made me laugh so hard I couldn't talk, couldn't have a conversation with anyone. And that's, got to check him out. He's also a production assistant for Nickelodeon. And as if that wasn't enough, he's finished third in last year's last Comix Standing at Mohegan Sun. And he's opened for the live recording of the Tuesdays with Stories podcast. So without further introduction, thank you so much for being on, Eion Falance.
Hey, how are you, Shiv?
Good. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being here.
It's good to be here. Introduction. I didn't know I made you laugh so hard you couldn't talk. Is that true?
Yeah. I remember your set, and I was like, I was laughing throughout the whole thing. I was like, each joke was like landing.
And it's hard to be there.
Yeah. And I remember that like pretty intensely. So it was very funny. I remember one of your jokes. It wasn't a joke on stage, but one of your recent tweets was a comparison photo of you in a picture alone, and then there was this girl and her boyfriend, I think. Mm-hmm. And she was like 18, like financially stable, bought a house, and you had a picture of you, and then you were like 22, 50K in debt, like living with my parents. Like, what have you done?
That's correct. You got all of it.
You got all of it. And I just thought it was so funny because it was like so relatable,
Definitely. This is my life, man.
Like, I feel like at this young of an age, it's more normal to not be in the situation of having your own house, like to be living with your parents post college.
Yeah, definitely. Having my own house sounds like a nightmare with my wife or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
Otherwise, than your wife or something like that.
Well, I mean, like, yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely think that's like a huge, very, very relatable. I mean, after college, if you're in debt or if you're living with your parents, it's like, all right, well, this is what we got to go through,
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the reality. That's what they should tell you before you go to college. So you're gonna have to go back home, especially if you go to a private college. You're gonna be in debt. So
yeah. Did you go to a private?
Yeah, well, I did 1 year of private college, and it put me in a really deep hole, like financially.
Got it.
I went to Emerson and Pace University, and then I went to a community college, and then I went to New York has SUNY schools that are like affordable, still higher, good education. But yeah, just 1 year of private college can do that to you.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
you're right. They should tell us that.
They should.
At the beginning, even when they're like presenting it to us, they're like,
"You're in the brochure,
Yeah, get a brochure.
This is where you're gonna live back home again. You're gonna sleep in bed.
Yeah, post-college drop-off.
Exactly, that's a real thing. Yeah.
But dude, I don't know. Weird things have been happening, especially with the pandemic. I think living at home is, more of the move, or a lot of what people have been doing, or going back home. Mm-hmm. And just weird things have been happening, like, because when you're not home and you come home, I don't know if you experience this, but I've been experiencing like over affection from my parents.
Oh wow, good for you. Yeah. Lucky you. No, I'm kidding.
So I like my parents will ask me, say again.
They kiss you a lot and stuff.
Yeah, they kiss you a lot. They're like, so they ask me if I can like sleep with them. Like sleep in the middle.
Protect them.
Yeah, like in the bed, like in the bedroom, master bed. You know what I mean? Like they're like, can you sleep in between us?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a little strong.
It's a twin size bed too, so I don't know how that's gonna.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding. Do they really ask you that? No.
yeah, yeah. And
For real?
yeah. And I was gonna pitch that question to you just to see if I could find someone to relate to.
It's your therapist, my man. You guys need some all you need some serious help.
You need some serious help.
I used to, when I was a kid, I would, I'd ask my mom to sleep in the same bed. I call it special night.
A special night.
But now I don't have any checks. I wish I didn't tell you that. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Did they really tell you that? They told you to sleep in the same bed?
Yeah, like as a, they don't, I never do it, and for the sake of the listeners, I never do it. But, I think they're like, they would be okay with it, but that's like, it's endearing too. Cause it's like, that's the level of affection they have. Like if I did want to sleep like with them, even at this age, like they would be okay. They'd be like, oh, that's my son. That's my boy. Like we enjoy this,
They really love you. So that's.
Yeah. So there's, there's positives, but also weird, it's a mix. It's a double-edged sword.
It's very weird.
And then like, even like but I don't think it's just me. Like you look at Tom Brady or something, like he kisses his kids on the lips.
I know. How lucky are those kids, huh?
Very, I mean, I really want to be one of, not like I enjoy being the kid of my parents the most for that. Cause they're going to listen to this. So, but and even if they weren't, I'd say that, but I would want to be Tom Brady's child second after my parents. Like I would want him to be like, if I didn't have mine, Tom, I would want Tom to step in.
Even, not just the kissing thing, but like he has so much money that you could do whatever you want. You could pursue this comedy dream and you don't even have to go to school. You could just, guy's got so much money,
Yeah. As long as you get past the kissing lips part, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Be set for life.
If you get past.
Do you experience that though? Like the overly affectionate gestures or at all?
I'm an only child, so
yeah,
I would get like a lot of attention and everything kind of revolves around whatever the kid wants, kind of.
Right.
Because I couldn't entertain myself, so it's always kind of been like, what's Ian want to do, or let's check in on Ian, or watch TV with Ian, I guess.
Yeah. I'd say that's strong affection.
Yeah, we watch a lot of TV shows together. Affection.
Yeah, that's awesome. So they don't ask you to sleep with them. That's just all right. That's
no, not yet.
Okay, yeah. I was hoping, I'm like, maybe maybe Ian has that too, but that's maybe everyone has their own, I'm sure some other people.
Unfortunately, you're gonna have to talk to somebody else about that. Professionally.
Well, I was sleeping in between my parents one night, and like and when I was much younger, I'm 24 right now. This is when I was like maybe like 20,
Seriously?
No, I'm kidding, not 20. Like maybe like when I was 15. Still too old of an age.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they were literally like, I think I was sleeping in the middle, and then all of a sudden, like my dad, or like in the middle of the night, like started hugging me, and I was like, oh, God. But it was like more affectionate, and it felt more like a cuddle, and then like a kiss on the cheek, and like I got weirded out. Like he totally thought that I was my mom, and so I ran out of the room, petrified.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I thought where it was going.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It'd be weird if he didn't think it was your mom.
Yeah.
He was like, no, Dad, it's me. And no, oh no, Shiv. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Shiv. But yeah, definitely weird. Let's move on, because I don't want to think about it. So
yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about your childhood.
um, but another interesting thing, like from that tweet you had, like being in debt versus not being in debt, being able to like live on your own versus not living on your own. Like one of the things that I think parents, you know, and most parents never look at children this way, but I think it'd be funny, like if a parent saw kids as like profitable investments.
Mm,
Like, what's my return on investment from this child? You know,
definitely.
and like for me, like among the three like I have a few siblings, and like for me, like profitability wise, I'm probably on the lowest rung, but maybe like just behavior wise, just not being rebellious growing up, like I probably won. But if you're looking at it from a profit standpoint, yeah, definitely not, you know.
You could go up though, you know, like you could break out as a comedian, you're making a ton of money, you're the best sibling then. They love you the most. If you start raking in the big bills, you're selling out MSG, my man.
Yeah. That's funny too. It's like whenever you ask your parents or anyone like close to you in general, like who do you think the best kid is? um,
Wait, what?
for you, you win that.
Hopefully. Yeah. Like I'm coming in second a lot to
Automatically.
see the imaginary kid.
Who would you come second to? The imaginary, an
Yeah.
imaginary friend.
Do you have two siblings or one?
Two.
Two sisters?
Two older sisters. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's yeah, that'd be really tough if, you know, you asked your parents and you were an only child. They're like, actually, our favorite child is the one in that TV show.
That's a great. Do you know Dan Menses? Um,
No.
he's a comedian who, a one-liner guy who does one of the voices on Bob's Burgers. But that's one of his jokes is like, I always ask my mom, "Who's your favorite kid?" And it hurts because I'm an only child. You know, because I'm an only child.
Yeah.
I kind of looked at it, but yeah, that's a gist.
Yeah, that's like the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's crazy because like profitability wise, it's like, well, it takes time, first of all, to like, even if you like you said, you graduate college, you accumulate some debt or whatever you got to do, and it's expensive, and then it's going to take at least a few years. I think for a lot of people, like to be able to get to a place where you can move out on your own,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I think that's like it's very relatable. Like the return on the ROI can't go up until you're like 28.
The what can't?
The return on investment.
Oh, okay.
Like if we're looking at us,
I don't know what
I'm just gonna throw out acronyms.
Yeah.
Just assume you know all of them.
BRB, SRY. It's a little too on the nose.
Yeah. And the weird thing is with the transition is like you go from college, like being independent. If you were fortunate enough to go to college, and then you go back to your parents, so you're used to like this independence. Then you come back, and you're like,
yeah, I definitely feel that right now. I'm trying to think about things I can do during the summer, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to ask my parents if I can go.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't have to do that. You feeling that too?
Yeah, I feel that a lot. For sure. I mean, I always tell, but I feel like it's weird if I don't hear, like, not that I have to, but it's weird if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just leave, like it's just kind of weird, right? It's like, why didn't he tell us, So I definitely feel that a lot. It's like when you're living alone, you kind of just do whatever, and you don't like have to tell anyone. But like when you're with your parents, you got to tell them all the time,
Because they ask.
And even with dating, especially, like that's a big one for me. Because like like being on the apps, whatever. It's like who are you talking to? And then like even if I were to go on a date, it's like, oh, I'm going on a date.
Can you bring them home? Have you been able to do that? Right?
No, but my parents are open to that.
Have you done that before? Have you had a date over?
Never home, not like in my home in East, not here. No, I think
okay.
Not like where I grew up, but I think that like, especially like with my parents here, like they say it's okay because they want to get to know the person. But I'm like, if it's the first date, it's like we don't even know, you know?
I'm gonna get to know them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little intense on the first date for your parents to know the person, you know?
Yeah.
Because you don't even know yet. You're like, oh, this is the person I picked from the app. What do you think?
Oh my God, that'd be a terrible first date if you brought your parents with you. You brought them home.
But to them, that's like the perfect first date.
Yeah, to them that's a night out. Your parents go out. Mine just stay home all the time.
Yeah.
They don't have jobs.
Yeah, mine stay home a lot too. They don't go out. No, not like at night or anything like that. That's but I feel like that's a typical, pretty usual for parent like to like be in,
Yeah.
Most days, like they're not raging, hitting the clubs.
No, the only clubs they're hitting are golf clubs against my body. Sorry, I don't know what that means.
Is that? I just want to confirm that's not true.
That's not true.
Okay, good. For our listeners, Ian's good.
I'm good. I'm not being abused at home.
But if you are, definitely let someone know. And
definitely emotionally, but emotionally hit with golf clubs every day of my gosh darn life.
But yeah, there, like you said, there's that emotional side of like you feel like you're getting hit because I think it's you being used to the independence and then having to readjust to like looking at things from your parents' perspective and then like adjusting to that and reacting like appropriately because you're like it's easy to get angry. Like I think like,
yeah
like one of the things like that I've noticed is like they'll give me like reminders of basic things like necessities or things that like I would do on my own,
like breathe.
Yeah, like breathe, even like yeah, exactly, or like even like make sure you drink water. And for some, it's such a healthy sentiment. It's such a nice thing to say to someone because it's what you should do. But for some reason, like every single like atom or piece of matter in my body like repels that. It's like you don't think I could like drink water on my own? Yeah, I mean like there's this young rebellious youth inside me that's like, obviously I'm gonna drink water.
I know. Dude, I feel that all the time. Just constantly having to be like, I know. Just saying I know.
Yeah.
Just them saying something, you're like, I know.
Yeah.
Alone, I know.
Yeah, and it's so true. It's like assuming that I'm trying to look at even now, like from a parent's perspective, it's like, well, they're used to growing up with you and having to tell you those things. And then if you go to college, or even if you like, for me, like live on your own for a little bit, then you come back, like they're still gonna like see it as that old time. Because it's like a little bit of nostalgia in a way, but it's also like you want to still have that parent, child type relationship. I'm just trying to spin it positively.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep spinning.
Keep spinning.
Look into it.
But yeah, so you said like you have examples of that where like you'll get like a command that's just very like
Yeah, I mean it's just
yeah,
constantly, man. It's just like it never ends. It's just like the wheel of misfortune rather.
Misfortune, yeah.
Misfortune isn't that word, but yeah, I mean it's just always yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, like drinking water is one, like laundry. I mean, laundry is kind of fair, that's
right.
a good one. But there's certain things for sure, like throughout the day that are like you have to, I don't know, like you have to make sure you like cut your nails. That's a fair. I'm thinking of ones that are just fair ones to say to another human being.
If I open a beer, my mom is like, "Wow, you're an alcoholic." I'm just like, if I have one drink in front of them, they just assume that I'm an alcoholic and I do heroin. I'm not kidding.
You crack open a beer and they look at you and they're like, it's, you know what's even worse is like they look at you and they're like, huh.
Yeah. They're
No
just
need to
judging
say
you.
anything. Yeah, just like the judgment.
Do you drink? Can you drink around your parents or?
Yeah, occasionally. Like I think that I was never a big drinker. Like even college, I didn't really drink.
Hmm.
Now I do occasionally, and I have a little bit. Like I've been more comfortable recently, like because I don't do it that much. So you know, it's becoming more acceptable. But initially, like at the beginning, I definitely felt that a lot. Like, and I think a lot of people do, and I think that's it can be unhealthy in a way that it's like, well, then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna drink more when I'm not with, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely feel that like of like the fear of the judgment, like if you are to like have a drink or something like that, and uh, that's something that's like maybe when you're living on your own or you're in college or you know you do and you don't feel that.
Yeah. You don't think twice about it in college. Jeez.
Yeah, but now you feel guilty about drinking and then you want to drink more.
It's like, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm having a cup of wine at church. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
But yeah, for sure. No, I think that's super true. That's it's a really good point. Yeah, like you have a drink and you're like, ah, like because again, like that causes you to want to drink more because you're like, I want to escape this reality, you know?
I believe you want to escape your reality in your house.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Your parents are going to hear this. I don't want them to hate me.
No, I like this. I like the reality. You know, it's a mixed bag. You know, I'm gonna say I like it. Again, they're gonna listen. So, but no, I do love it. There's pros and cons. I think
We'll
that
cut that. We'll cut the whole thing.
look at the whole thing.
Just cut it up. Just keep the intro.
No, we got to be honest. We got this UnCoMfY CoNvOs. We got to be honest. I think it's a double-edged sword. There's two sides. You know,
To a sword.
There's two sides to a sword. We can say that with confidence. Jinx.
Okay.
And but yeah, there's two sides to it. I mean, it's not all like roses and rainbows, but at the same time, it's like, well, what would we do without it too? At the same time, it's like, well, if we'll flourish, you think we'd flourish?
No, I mean some of it's good. It's good some good reminders, but you know sometimes it's not.
Yeah. But like even I'm just trying to think through the scenario of like without it, even in this pandemic, right? It's like, well, say like, you know, job or something goes away or whatever. It's like very fortunate to be able to have a place to go back to, like if you do.
Right.
So that in and of itself is like offsets any like negativity. I think it's the way we frame it, but the day-to-day living is like definitely something you still have to overcome obstacles, you know?
It's nice not to have to pay rent. That's the sacrifice that we make.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, or if you know you're living in the city and then your lease is still happening and you're living.
Are you still paying for it?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's rough.
Trying to see what we can do, but
when is your lease up?
For all our listeners, my lease is up in September. So if you guys
too personal to put on here or something,
you guys need a sublease. You know, if you guys want a sublease in New York City during this time.
Currently sublease because you're not there.
Currently sublease, yeah.
I'll put your address on this. Somebody can.
If anyone's listening, I'll do it in the description.
Sleep there. Yeah.
So random people who listen to this can see the address and come find my roommate.
What area do you live in, Brooklyn?
So okay, we'll go. You know, for our listeners,
I just guessed that you lived in Brooklyn. I'm sorry, I just assumed.
No, do I give off Brooklyn? Do I give off Jay-Z vibes?
Yeah, a little bit.
I take that as a huge compliment. I think I live in for our listeners. I trust you, and I don't think you're gonna do anything poorly.
You have to say the address. What area did you say?
Yeah, Hell's It's like hell's. It rhymes with hell's bitchin'.
Oh, you live in Manhattan.
Yeah,
Oh,
hell's bitch.
that's nice.
Did I really have to say hell's bitchin'? I could have just said that was the
I
worst.
said you lived in Brooklyn. That's like a total diss. I thought, yeah. All right. All
Hell's
right, so you're doing pretty good.
hell's.
That's a hefty rent check with not living there then, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to, I definitely want to not live there, like future, like I would be in the boroughs or one of the, like away from it.
Mhm.
So yeah. So, but it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely a lot. But you're right. Like living with parents, like you don't have to pay rent, so definitely trade-offs. You know.
Right.
Uh,
Although my mom said the other day, she's like, I want you to start paying for stuff around here. How about rent? And I'm like, no, I think I'll drive for some groceries or some toilet paper, but that's about it. I'm not.
yeah, I've been that too. It's like, in a joking way, I think my parents are like, my dad's been like, oh, like, you can pay rent, and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna really not work right now.
You could be a better father, one or the
But it was a joke. I hope. And so,
other. Your transition.
But everyone's going through it. It's not just us. This isn't a pity party for all our listeners. This is not a pity party. We're just saying it how it is.
No, I've seen some famous comedians that are saying they're living at home too. So
Yeah. Like Nikki Glazer, I think I saw. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, that I was thinking of.
that's the one. That's the one.
That's the one.
So yeah, no, it makes sense. And at the end of the day, like if you don't have, or like if you're about to start a family of your own, that makes sense with a partner. But if you don't have that, I mean, family is kind of what you got,
Family is your partner.
Family is your partner.
Tweet it. Family is your partner.
Yeah. So, family's like always there. Family's where the home, where the heart is at.
Not sure that's how the phrase goes, but you were close.
But yeah, like it's been so like back to like even like just being at home. Like one of the things my dad did like is he like looks at me, he just like smiles, like this big smile on his face, and it's like like as if sleeping wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. It's like now it's like it's just staring at me and smiling.
That's nice.
But I don't. Do you get that?
Just my mom stares at me while I'm sleeping. That's pretty. It's like. No, not that stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes they'll just be like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're home."
Yeah.
So, that's about it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's normal. That's like more normal.
Are you okay, buddy? Do you wanna?
You okay?
Blink twice if you wanna get out of there.
Blink twice. Yeah. I'm good. I'm 100% fine. I just blinked twice for the listeners. No, I'm kidding. But it's nice to live with parents, and it's just to spin it back, for the parents listening. It's great because you get right now, at least I'm lucky, like I'll have meals made versus not having meals made, when you're living on your own, or like laundry. There's like amenities that, aside from love, there's amenities you get.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to, I say again.
I said, "Where is this going?"
From what I'm saying, like the pros and cons of like living on your own versus not living on your own. So if you're like,
Yeah.
You know, if you're living on your own, you have to do everything. But when you're at home, like, you might not have to do everything.
Hmm.
So I think that's one of, like, you know, the silver linings
Hmm.
of living with parents. You
Yeah,
know.
like when I was in like Brooklyn, like I would have to take a shower myself. Now I'm home, they help me take a shower.
Yeah, exactly my point. I
Yeah.
couldn't have. Fit
Oh,
any-
but really, like a lot of the time when I was, be in the city running around to open my, I never ate dinner. Like I would always just be. I was a lot thinner back then too.
yeah, yeah,
Side note, I can barely fit in any of my shorts right now.
yeah.
Terrible. This pandemic, it's killing me.
Yeah, yeah. That's such a good point. You're right. Like when you're on the go in the city, like I remember that too. Like you skipping meals.
Mhm.
Uh, and now there's like time and you're sitting down and you're just kind of like eating food is like something you look forward to more now.
There's too much time. I think
It's too much time.
we have too much time.
And and you look forward to like, yeah, eating, and there's time for you to eat each meal.
Hmm.
And then for, I don't know, like for you, but like like my mom or always, you know, it's a big meal. It's like a big one. It's not like, and I can't not finish, or like if I do not finish, it's an insult, or like I just feel like a bad son.
That's what I tell my girlfriend.
What?
I can't not finish. It was kind of a joke. We'll edit it out.
Oh, that's going in there. This UnCoMfY CoNvOs, man. This is,
God,
it's all about,
what? Go ahead.
it's all about the awkward humor.
Right, bombing on here is pretty bad. Even worse than in person.
Cheers to water. But they I don't know, I'm gonna throw out a, you know, because this is going, you know, we're just hitting everything very smoothly. Throw out a hypothetical. Why not? You know?
Yeah, why not?
So if we had kids,
Oh,
not you and me.
are they meant together?
No, no. Like,
Jesus, I hope not.
no. If we separately with someone else had kids, uh, would we want our children to live with us once they're past their 20s?
Probably not. What about you?
um, hard to say. I think it's a hard hypothetical because like you get so attached, even like kind of playing with, you know, my nephew now and like being an uncle. Like I think that you can get so attached, like emotionally attached to a kid, and you don't know how emotionally attached you can get until you like start experiencing it.
Mhm.
So I could totally imagine like wanting to have my kids like around, at least around, uh and then, but you know, inside the house maybe it is intense, maybe you'd like enjoy kind of being able to not at some point.
Mhm.
I think after, I think for me, like knowing what we know in our generation, like if I had kids like in 5-10 years, you know, like then once they hit like 20, whatever, they went to college, they graduated, I'd expect like a few years of them maybe having to live at home if they had to, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in this uh, climate economically,
Yeah.
it kind of it's so hard to support just yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
So I totally think, you know, I wouldn't give them the boot. I wouldn't like kick my, you know, kick them out of the house.
Right.
It'd be like, they hit 20 and I'm like, all right, it's time for you to get out.
Stuff's on the lawn. Get going.
Yeah. I would never do that. Um, but have you had this experience recently of like just being at home, or like do you ever help your parents with technology?
Yeah, like putting in passwords and helping them use the microwave and
Yeah. We use the microwave.
but yeah, normal stuff like try to fix the Wi-Fi, for example.
Yeah.
Something you had to do, right? Or
Yeah,
your
yeah,
dad
yeah. My dad did, yeah. Yeah, before this, for our listeners, we were having Wi-Fi issues, but we made it through.
made it through. We did
Yeah.
all right.
And we're giving you this high quality content. So, but yeah, no, I've had that too. Like you go up to your parents, like how to like text, send messages, but it makes complete sense to me. Initially, it was annoying, like when I was young, like you're like, oh, could they not know that?
Hmm.
But then you're like, oh, like this makes sense. Like if we like imagine us getting iPhones when we were like 30 or even now,
Wow.
first time.
I wish. I don't like. I don't know about you, but this off topic. But I'm addicted to my phone. You know, I can't take it anymore.
Oh, right now?
Scroll like yeah, my life. Just looking at. I'm always carrying it around. Even when I go to the bathroom, even when I just pee, I need to look at it. I gotta watch something on YouTube.
It's like classical conditioning or whatever. It's like you have to have it wherever you go.
Right.
Um,
You're like, I'm always on Twitter or Instagram. Are you doing that?
yeah, I definitely feel that. I think I I have been doing that. I've been. This is going to be very. I've been meditating. Like I'm gonna come out and say it first. You heard it here first.
That's awesome.
Been meditating through the Com app. Plug the Com app. I don't know if they'll give me ad revenue for
No.
this, but probably not. Okay. So anyways, but they, the Com app's great. And they have a bunch of different meditations, and that's helped me. Even today, like I didn't look at it as much, or like I went on like occasionally, like we were scheduling, but I think that like that was mainly it. I went on a few times in between subconsciously,
Hmm.
but a lot less than I have. And you're right, during this pandemic, being at home and not being able to go out and doing stuff, it's like that can be the stimulus
Right.
and the social connection to people our age. So I think that it's very relatable and it makes sense,
Hmm.
But recently, like from meditating, I'm like, dude, you're doing this too much. Like to myself, I'm like, you're doing this too much,
Meditating?
No, no, the going on social media.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Lost me. Your app is like, you should stop meditating. I don't think it's working.
Yeah, yeah. The point of the meditation is so you can do stuff better in your life, not just to meditate. You're just meditating.
Is it working? You're meditating?
Yeah, like, well, I think when you meditate, like you're trying to get into a frame of mind where you're like, you can do stuff and just focus on the thing that you're doing, and not, even if you have other things enter your head, like you can recognize it and then bring yourself back.
Wow. That would be so helpful because I cannot focus on anything, especially while you were just talking. I was not listening at all. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I don't want to be mean.
I that was good. So that
It's a
that
one-liner.
meditation would help with that, you
Yeah.
know. So so maybe in like the next time I say that, you'll hear it. Okay.
Maybe.
um but yeah, I think that's what it does. And subconsciously, yeah, there's a lot of things that like you just start realizing that. But it's crazy with every just news, when news is going crazy with anything, like, and just a bunch of people are on media, like, and you're just like so interested in hearing about what's going on, and but you want to stay woke too with what's going on.
Yeah, you want to stay informed, but yeah,
Sane.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely not easy, but it's necessary, I think, like to keep that in check at some point. And that I've realized that like through this pandemic, it's around now is when I'm like, okay, I'm realizing that this could be negative. Like, let me try and improve, because could be like more productive. But I think this was unexpected. It's like you didn't expect this to happen, so it's natural to go to things that like
This Zoom call or
well, yeah, Yeah, it's natural to go to things that like we've done in the past and do it more. Like if you're going on like, I was already going on social media, like at work, whatever, right? But like it's just gonna get amplified when you're more bored.
God,
You
looking
know?
at screen time, that screen time thing on your phone is like,
Oh,
it makes me want to check my phone in the river and take a deep look at myself.
yeah. Do you ever get? I've gotten like I don't know what I got. I got like 12 hours, I think, on 1 week or something crazy. Like
Per day?
I think it was maybe not 12. Like it was high. Maybe like
Yeah.
10. It was high. It was very high.
Were you
Uh,
watching something on your phone?
well, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I had my phone on, like a lot, and so some days, yeah, like I don't know, maybe not 12, maybe 12 is a lot, but anyways, like
Yeah.
you get a number and it's just so high, and then like the worst is when like you get the notification, it's like you had a high, you were looking at your screen for too long the week before, and then it's like it went up 20%.
Yeah, oh my God, that's terrible. Yeah.
That's the worst. That's like you're like you didn't improve as a person.
That kind of gives me anxiety, is looking at that thing, and then I look at it more, and then it's a
Yeah,
never-ending cycle of,
yeah, yeah, and then it's just dude, it's hard to control because a lot of the stuff you do is on there too.
yeah.
So, but
That's where this podcast will be. Check us out at.
yeah, yeah, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
That's right.
and spend an hour on your phone listening to all of this.
I think it's worth a listen.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like listen, that's another thing with meditation. Even that involves the phone.
Right.
But that being said, you can like set it aside, your phone aside. You don't have to look at the screen. You just listen.
Mhm.
Which for this podcast, everyone listening, if you're doing that right now, you're doing something good for your health.
Yeah, good for you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening and not learning a thing.
Thank you for listening. But I definitely, it's tough. Meditation is something that like I would do in my home now in a pandemic when I can't go out. It's like, well, let me just meditate,
Mhm.
That's become the source of like that's become a fun activity.
Oh God. You're not doing too well, man.
In addition to like playing with my nephew, like family, but like I think that
That's
that
all so horrible.
that sounds
I'm just kidding. You have a lovely family, I see.
but like with stand up and stuff, that used to be the thing that I enjoyed a lot. So it's like, well, you're trying to fill it with stuff. I'm wondering what you've been doing to keep yourself entertained.
Um, I FaceTime a lot of people.
Yeah,
Do the try to write every night. That's not easy.
yeah,
uh, been playing a little bit of video games
yeah,
and trying to take walks, doing stuff like that.
yeah. Take walks.
Yeah,
Yeah, do
yeah.
that.
Just take walks, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What about you? What are you doing to keep busy?
Similar. I mean, definitely taken walks. Like, lucky, like with, we have obviously like young, like babies in the house and stuff too. So it's like, that's like very entertaining. Like, I mean, it's at least being at home, in and of itself. And then, taking walks is a big one. That's like, again, something that before the pandemic, it's like, that's not fun, but now it's like fun or it feels good.
Now, now you're getting out of the house.
Yeah, now you're getting out of the house. So
I'm going out.
I'm going out. I'm going out, mom, dad. Uh, even that I do with my parents,
Oh,
and that's the thing too. Like I feel like one of the things that's tough is balancing that. Like sometimes you feel it start to get a redependency. I feel like because I was living on my own, you're like making your meals, you're like waking up early, you have to take care of things like working,
yeah.
and then you live at home and you're like, you can easily fall into dependency like type of mindset where it's like, oh, I wake up, breakfast is made or whatever is happening, like breakfast made, like some things are just done for you.
Mhm.
and it's easy to become complacent with that. Like one of the things that I'm afraid of getting to mentally and that I'm trying to stay away from consciously is that, like getting redependent on my parents, like just in a way that it's like, well, they taught me a lot. Like I want to be able to do things, whether it's my laundry, like making food sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my biggest anxieties, like living with parents. I think it's like, well, you still want to become an independent human and hopefully start a family of your own. In order to do that, you have to grow out of being a child.
I had that plan, but now I have no plan. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm just a baby again. I feel like I'm a kid.
Yeah.
You talk about kids a lot. You want to start a family, Shiv?
Yeah, I think, down the road, I don't think I'm ready yet. I'm still a kid, but
couple kids.
couple of kids. Yeah.
Couldn't think of any words.
Yeah, dude, I definitely want to have at some point. I think it'd be cool, and I'm getting experience with what it's like. So, it's nice. It's a lot of responsibility. I think you have to be at a place in your life where you're like, whatever my goals and like whatever my things are, like especially if you're trying to be an entertainer, like as a comedian, like you have to be in a place where you're like, all right, I'm gonna let this take a little bit of a backseat and just live with family.
Yeah. Do you remember like what your life was like before you wanted to be a comedian? I mean, that's what it's like now. It's just like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Just a teenager. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, you're right. It's like you kind of don't have that thing to do that's like fun outside of, I mean, that was a big part of me in college. Like that's big reason why I got into comedy, because I didn't enjoy like parties or like just like regular things that people, maybe not like people, but just regular things that maybe you'd enjoy. It's like, well, the comedy was that thing,
Mm-hmm.
that I found meaning in. But it causes you to adjust. Like even this, like with podcasts, like whatever it is, it's like, well, let me just figure out a different way, because you got to.
Yeah.
It's like there's no choice.
You got to go on Zoom and eat it in front of people.
Yeah. Or not. You could flourish like a butterfly. Maybe you were eating it before, and then Zoom was your thing, or YouTube or whatever.
Could you imagine if that's how you break out, is on Zoom shows?
Yeah.
I'm a Zoom comedian.
Yeah, he's been on Zoom. That's like your credit.
There you go. That could be something.
But I think there's an opportunity to create outside. Like, I mean, obviously podcasts is going up, but YouTube, digital content in general. But that's good. That's positive. I think that's what should be happening,
Yeah.
But bringing it back to parents' anxiety. So basically, one of the things that smooth transition here. So I think that they keep telling you like there's like a sense of inflated ego sometimes too, right? Like I've gotten like last night before I went to bed, I got like you're the best. They said that too. Like I'm the best.
That's yourself in the mirror?
No, like my parents told me.
Oh.
That I'm the best, which is offensive to you. First of all.
Anybody. I'm offended. Best at what? Just being you?
Just the best in general.
Right.
And that's like, I went to, usually like when younger, I was like, oh yeah, sure. Like I am, whatever. Like I brushed it off. Now, like yesterday when it happened, I was like, I thought about it and I'm like, that's a really intense statement to make.
Right.
And I was like, am I actually the best? And like, if I believe that,
Yeah, they shouldn't tell you that.
They shouldn't tell you that.
I'm kidding. I'm not getting the best. I'm getting, can you please do something? Can you?
Yeah.
You're hard to live with. I'm getting the.
Yeah.
You need to buy toilet paper.
Yeah. It's natural though. I mean, you live in the same house, share tasks, I think I always have a reservation when I'm like told to do something in the house. Like if and it's not right, like necessarily. I'm noticing it now, through again, going to plug meditation. For all the listeners, through meditation, you learn things and you become more self-aware.
Plug
There are
away.
so many people stopping the podcast right now.
They stopped a while ago.
Yeah, they stopped a while ago.
Nobody made it this far. I'm kidding.
Except for our parents.
My parents will not listen to this.
But it makes you more self-aware. You're like, you just have you repel, or like you just don't, it's just so goes against you to like hear direction. I think for me at least, it's like I know I should do things and I do, but it's like sometimes when you're told to do something out of the blue, you're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I hate people telling me what to do.
Yeah, and I think that's a general like universal type like feeling. Like it's like until you like get older, like mature, you understand like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this for the family, whatever. But that initial instinct is what I'm saying. You're like, really, like I'm laying down on the couch, do I really have to get up?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're telling me like I'm the best, that I'm gonna be successful and that I'm gonna have a lot of money, and it's like
they are way off base. I keep ragging on you. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to.
No. Yeah, dude, they are, totally off base. No,
I don't mean any of it.
Yeah. I think they're on, on base. Again, it's too early to tell, but that's the thing. You have to keep like a balanced ego in order to get better, right? So it's like,
yeah, definitely.
If I'm told I'm the best, and then I go to a mic in a few months, like an open mic, do comedy, and like I'm not, and then it's like, but my parents told me,
That's a rude awakening, is when you that everybody should have to do an open mic to see what failure feels like, or
you should, like, because it's like that's a big part of it. And even like getting out of, like, you're going into college after living with parents and stuff, it's like it was a rude awakening, because it was like, oh, like I'm gonna, you're not special automatically.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna get all the attention automatically, and it's like, oh, like I'm gonna have to do stuff.
I mean, I don't know if you came from like big fish, small pond. That's what it is. And then you think all these things, and then you're in New York, and there's literally like 1,000 comedians. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and in comedy, anything you're trying to do, right? It's like there's just so many people striving to do the same thing, which is great, positive. But it's also like, if you're used to getting all the attention, then, which I was, and so I think that like you're like, what the heck,
Yeah, it's a tough part of life.
Yeah, and in a weird way, like once you start working and stuff too, it's like you see like, well, your parents, whatever, they're like one of the best relationships, in a way that it's like, well, yeah, you do stuff, we're all helping each other out, but it's also like the people who like actually genuinely care, too, like it's like sometimes when you work with people, and I haven't had this too much, but it's like sometimes it's like when you're out in the real world, it's like you don't have to care about the people. Like you don't have to care, like if you're working with someone, like it could be very business oriented, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And that's negative, and that's one of the fears, right? Of like, even now, it's like the dependency thing. You live with your parents for a while, then you go out on your own, and you think it's so cool. Like, I don't know if you've been feeling this, but it's like one of the things that happens when you like live with your parents for a while is like, for me, it's like, I gotta get out. Right? I gotta make it out somehow.
Right.
And there's a big drive, and I think that's healthy in a way.
They lock the doors in your house, right? They don't let you.
But yeah, that's the problem. Like, they've locked the doors, and I can't get out of it.
Emotionally, right?
Emotionally.
That's kind of deep. I might be onto something. I don't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're emotionally, they're just they're
Mostly locking the door. I just kind of stand by what I said.
what is they're not allowing you to emotionally blossom into like an independent person.
Well, I guess in a way they really do lock those things because you go to an open mic and then the complete opposite happens, but you've been trained that you think that you're the best or you got this,
Yeah,
and life just comes at you.
yeah, and then you have to like be able to deal with like rejection or people like being objective towards you.
But luckily, in those scenarios, our family, friends are the support system for.
That's true. Like once you get that objective rejection from a crowd,
Mhm.
you're like, well, at least I got mom and dad.
And then they tell you you're the best again, and then you do it again. Try again. Yeah,
It's a never-ending vicious cycle.
it is.
It's
Be a comedian. It's a vicious life.
yeah, yeah. That's yeah. For the record, I don't get locked in my house. Just for the record, by my parent. I don't know if anyone.
And for the record, I'm sorry that I said, I use you as a butt of the joke a lot.
Dude, that's comedy. That's fine.
No, you're my friend. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be mad at me.
You're just gonna right now. You're like, I take all those jokes back. I take all those jokes back.
Maybe I do.
Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But just some concluding thoughts. Before we end this, it's like parents are great, and there's always going to be that tension when you're getting older and you want to be independent.
Yeah.
I do want to play a quick little game before we end this.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even a game. It's just you have to pick the best dad among the following.
Okay. I know it's not mine. Your life.
Yeah. Ian's kidding. Right?
That's how I'm not. That's the only real.
Okay, so we have Mr. These are like people just in pop culture, like in shows and stuff, movies. So Mr. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
In the Incredibles.
Right.
And then then you have Marlin from Finding Nemo.
Okay, less familiar with that dad, but
okay. Mustafa, Simba's dad.
Okay.
I think it's Mustafa.
Didn't he die?
Yeah. I'm just saying while he was alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Chicken Little's dad.
That one I don't really remember, but I know that movie. I know what you mean.
And then my dad. So you can pick among all of those. And I'm kidding. Just scratch my head. That was a joke. But if you want to include him, go ahead. But among those four, like Mr. Incredible, Marlin, Mustafa, and the Chicken Little dad.
I noticed you didn't pick any Nickelodeon properties, so.
Are you offended?
I can't say that. No. Probably Mr. Incredible, right? Because he's incredible. How could you beat Incredible?
That's true. Like, do you genuinely feel that way based off of like how we act towards his children in the movies?
If your dad is a superhero, that's probably pretty cool.
Yeah, but he did. I agree 100%. But I also think that he blew a lot of his father responsibilities to be a superhero.
Right.
Like, remember those nights he'd like go out and fight, or like his wife, Mrs. Incredible, was like, "What are you doing?"
I guess you're right. That's not a good place. What a bad dad. You're right. That guy was never there for his kids. Who else there? Can't pick Marlin. He's a fish. Fish. A fish can't be a good dad.
Fish can't be a good dad.
A fish. What is the other ones? Chicken Little and
Simba's dad, Mustafa, I think it
I
was.
can't pick Disney, so I have to go with Chicken Little.
You don't even remember what the dad did.
You're right. I don't.
You have to go with Mustafa. He's the clear favorite.
All right, fine. He's the guy. He's the tiger. He's the lion, rather.
The tiger.
What about you? Did you pick one?
No, but I feel like I forced you into your decision.
Yeah, you did. You handcuffed me.
I'd say my favorite is I'd say Mustafa too. I really hope I got that name right. Simba's dad.
Simba's dad.
Simba's dad. I'd go with Simba's dad. If these are out of the four we said, I'd go with my dad. If I'll to pick from all the dads. So just Dad, if you're listening.
He's not.
He's he passed out. Sometimes I wonder about like this podcast, and I'm like, I hope one day in like the New York Times or something, they're like best podcast to fall asleep to. Like that.
Not bad.
It's not bad. It'd get high, not viewership, but listens or viewership, whatever. Listens.
They heard it in the beginning. They heard whatever was in the beginning, at least.
Yeah. So that's what the meditation does. It's like the sleep meditation. You start listening to it, and then you just pass out. So that's what this podcast is, just a meditation for our listener, for anyone listening.
Wow.
Pretty deep stuff.
They're pretty lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, again, parents are great, and just becoming independent post college, or trying to become independent in general. There's always tension there, and you're gonna have to go through it. And pretty soon, one day, you or Eddie, you might become the parents, or so.
I hope not.
Really?
No, I don't know. But in a serious note, I couldn't ask for better parents. I tried.
Okay. Yeah, I tried.
I just cheated. That's one of my jokes.
You mean that in sincerity?
That it's one of my jokes?
No, that it's like that. Like you couldn't have asked for better.
I tried. That's the.
I tried.
It's like that. So you assume that. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, no, yeah, we have. You're gonna have that tension. You're gonna wait. Do you actually want to become a dad, or like is that one of the things you want to do?
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. You just got to live in the present moment for now. Bring it
young for.
Yeah. Bring it back to meditation. Live in the present moment, and just keep doing you. And
meditation. Come on.
One more. Before we end this, Ian, do you want to do any plugs?
Sure. You can check me out on Instagram, Eion_. Oh, I should probably spell it. EION _. And then I'm on Twitter. I'm always trying out new jokes. And if I don't get a certain amount of likes, I feel really bad about myself. At EIONFALANCE. And please don't dislike my YouTube video. That makes me really angry.
Wait. So it's Eion_ and then Falance.
Instagram, yeah.
_Falance, or is it just
no last name on my Instagram?
Okay. At Eion, got it.
Twitter full name, and then YouTube. Please don't dislike.
It's so weird when people do that.
It's really, it makes it, like last week when I was checking it out, it made me feel really
bad. Dude, it's horrible. It's like why'd you even do that?
I know.
And then the Twitter, yeah, it's evil. It's so evil, especially when we're like just growing our channel. You're just at the beginning,
Right.
And I think that it's even worse like when you're on Twitter and like you said, like you put up a tweet and it gets nothing and you're like, should I just delete it? I don't want this to be a part of my track record.
Yeah, I don't want to be a comedian then if nobody's gonna.
But no, that was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing
Dude,
this.
thank you. It was great to meet you, really, because I didn't know you at all.
Yeah, yeah. So this was us getting to know each other for our listeners.
Now I know some really weird stuff about you.
So yeah, for all our listeners, stay tuned, keep tweeting, keep YouTube, don't get and keep, if you're living with your parents, just stay positive, like Ian and I are.
I'm trying not to do that.
But stay tuned for the next episode. We'll be back out with another one. Not we, I will, me and whoever does the next one. And stay safe and stay happy and positive. And see you guys soon. Peace.